Good evening, all, and I'm happy that all have initiated joining for the previous episode for the industrial cycle. And to confirm with the technical settings of the session, kindly mention me if my audio is clear to all the participants because of the I'm not able to switch on the video part, but I'll make sure that it is a completely we are initiating the factor. Do confirm in the chat boxes. So most of our conversation will be completely in the chat box, and do confirm me if my audio is clear or not. Okay, my voice is breaking. So just a minute, I'll try to sort it out. And, yeah, so I have started working on the audio factors also, and can from the participant side, can you confirm if my audio is clear now? Can I get a yes?
Yes, sir. It's clear.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thanks for the confirmation, dear audience. So we'll be, completely discussing, and as I mentioned, it is an introduction course for the industrial psychologist. There are many misconceptions, there are many misunderstandings related to the psychology factors, that is specifically in the introduction, specifically in the industrial psychology terms. So this 3 days crash course is actually for 2 to 3 set of people, or for the specific set of audience who are interested to, it may be for the audience who are studying UG and who are planning to get into their PG with MSc Industrial Psychology. For the students who are already in their MSc Industrial Psychology and trying to figure out what should I do next, how can I go further, and what are my career opportunities and all stuffs. And it is also for the people who are basically interested in the industrial psychology as a topic itself. So it will be the complexity of this particular crash course would be something from beginner to intermediate level. It will not be an advanced level course. It will be a beginner to intermediate level course. I'll try to mention few things about the courses, about the way which we are going to plan the next 3 days. So it will be something like a completely interactive session. So what is this interactive session? We'll be using the chat box completely, and we'll be making sure that it is not about just initiating some random, a PPT session. We are trying to make the session as maximum as interactive as possible. And the one important thing which I have to register in the beginning itself is this session will not have any PPTs. If you may get confused, you may have a thought, what is this, and stuff like that. So what we have, started to try to do is, because of this all pandemic and stuff, like we are almost having too much of PPTs and many other stuffs like that. So we at our team just decided that, okay, let's not bring any PPTs in the session. How can we make the session more active or more interactive without a PPT and stuff like that? We'll make sure that every session has been addressed clearly. The last 15 minutes from 7:45 to 8 will be the doubt clarification session, and every single doubts of yours will be addressed also. So we'll slowly get into the session, but before getting into the session, I just wanted you to use the chat box and say where you are from and what you are currently doing. So by mentioning in just one single line, say for instance, you are from Bangalore and what you are a student, you are from Delhi, you are a working professional, you are from Mumbai, you are doing your PG, whatever it is. You can just try to mention from where you are and what you are doing in what. Okay, okay, yeah, yeah, great. Yeah, so everybody can try to participate in the chat box. So let the chat box be more more interactive as well. So I could also understand what kind of audience we have, and so that it would be a little more easier for us to customize the session according to the audiences. Okay, great, great. Okay, 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 great. Yeah, I'm happy that all the audiences are using the chat box more efficiently as well. Yeah, I expect the same throughout the sessions. Okay, great. So now we'll first discuss about what is basically industrial psychology, or what does an organizational psychologist do? What is his or her job? Why are they being hired, and all stuff like that. And this session, as as it was mentioned in the syllabus, in the brochures, the first day we will be discussing about the scope and future of industrial psychology. What are the roles they do inside the organization and all stuff like that. Okay. So the first thing is, what does an organizational psychologist do, and what are the misconceptions basically around it? First thing I have to make you all understand. You just have to make sure that basically there are 2 to 3 forms of psychology field: clinical, counseling, applied, forensic, many other factors. But almost every student have a misconception that if you become an organizational psychologist, you will do counseling for the people who are working in your companies. I'm not saying that is wrong. That is also right, but that is not the only part which you will. Then what does an organization psychologist basically do, and how they are being different? How they are actually different from a HR managers. We'll try to decode every single aspects one by one. The work of an organizational psychologist is to make sure that the employees inside the organization are happy. That is the best, or that is the simple explanation which we can do, or which we can give to define an organizational psychologist. What does the organizational psychologist do? Basically, he or she has to make sure that all the employees inside the company or inside the organization are extremely happy, satisfied, contented, and working or doing their works without any sort of problems. Without any sort of problems, if an employee wants to do their work, it is the role of an organizational psychologist to make sure or to bring such ambience there. As I mentioned, there is also always a misconception that people from the organization psychology will go to the workplaces and they will counsel the things and stuff. But to be very frank, the actual role is, to give you a simple example, is all about the life cycle of an employee. The role of an organizational psychologist is actually the life cycle of an employee. What is this basically life cycle of an employee? I'll give you a very simple example. From the day a candidate is been conducted with interview, he's been appointed as a full timer, and he's been trained with the organization. Then we also give him projects. Then we check whether he is performing in a good way or not. Then we also, give him feedbacks. Your performance is good, your performance is bad, and stuff like that. And if he performs good, he gets a hike or he gets a promotion, the upskilling aspects. If he's not performing, he's been warned, he's been initiated with the feedbacks, and he's been asked to, change his working aspects. This is what basically it is. So to start with the aspect, I'll try to. In the beginning of the session itself, I said you that many consumption, and I will also be not using any PPTs inside the session, but I will try to use the most easiest or the simple form of an art form which helps every single person to understand the concept. It may look weird, but trust me in this process, at the end of the 3 days, you will definitely would have learned something from these 3 days. I can give you 100% assurance. So regarding the first step of it, I'll try to share a small meme, a meme which I have created to inculcate the learning in a simple way. And for your references, I have posted that meme in the WhatsApp group, which you all have been added now. Just go and check out the meme, and just acknowledge me in the WhatsApp chat what you felt regarding the meme. What you felt when you saw them. It is a simple meme explaining about the role of an organizational psychologist. Okay. I hope all of you are seeing the meme in the chat, in the WhatsApp group which is being posted. It is we are trying to just differentiate the learning aspects. We are just trying to make sure that you are also feeling not bored during the whole 1 hour of session. Just check it out. And once you have checked out, do mention me in the chat box what you are able to understand from this. Basically, just try to share your thoughts in the chat box, because this is our first learning, and we just wanted to address the very important problem regarding the topic of organizational psychology. What did you feel, or how did you feel when you saw that meme? Just say your answers in the chat box as a one-line statement. The chat box is open as well. Okay. True. Yes. Yeah, everybody can share your thoughts. It's not like, okay, I thought something, but someone has already posted. It is not at all like that. It's all about how you are trying to contribute throughout the session. So even if someone has mentioned your statement, it's totally fine. You can also type it again and post it in the chat box. It's all about whether are we putting all our efforts to contribute as well. Okay. True. Like as someone said, industrial psychology is not only about counseling in the workplace. Okay. Great. Yeah, everybody, you can just share your thought. What was your thought when you saw the meme? Something like that. Great. So yes. So getting back to the point, we have been slowly starting to the topics now. As I mentioned, so I am just starting to initiate the misconceptions represented with the organizational psychology. That's why I started a small explanation. And let's see how the role, or what are the duties of an industrial organization or a organizational psychologist basically. The first ever duty, whether it is you are working in India or in abroad locations, you will be assigned in the human resource department. Even though you are being positioned as organizational psychologist, you will be always assigned as an executive in the human resource department almost every time. Because as I mentioned, the difference between a HR manager and an organizational psychologist is the organizational psychologist or the HR managers actually manage the people. To give you a very simple example, the HR managers actually manage people. The organizational psychologists try to understand the people. Empathy actually plays a very important role. I'll repeat the statement for your more understanding. The HR manager will be actually managing the people, while the organizational psychology or the organizational psychologist will try to understand the people. What is the difference between managing and understanding? Can you say your statements or can you say your thoughts about it in one line in the chat box? What is the difference between managing people and understanding people? Use the chat box. The chat box is open for you. As I mentioned, we'll be completely using the chat box, so that we also will get multiple dimensions of the same questions. Not only you will get my dimension, you'll also get the dimensions of other participants also. That's why I said in the beginning that I am ready. I also mentioned it in the chat box as well. I am ready to teach you as well as I'm also ready to learn from you as well. Okay. Understanding involves empathy. Managing involves practical skills. So, and in the environment of the workplace, yes, great. More to do with observing employees. Definitely. Knowing what they are feeling. Okay. Feeling. Okay. Yeah, you understand their problems and try to solve it accordingly. Okay. Great. Okay. Yeah. Great. I'm really like as your trainer, I'm really happy, or as your facilitator, I'm really happy that you have been participating, in the chat box and collaborating your thoughts. It is totally fine. Even if your points have been already stated, it's totally fine. Even if someone has already mentioned your point, it's totally fine. It's all about how you are trying to, bring the difference or trying to contribute on a whole aspect. Okay. Great. Okay. So we'll slowly start to discuss with the roles of an organization psychologist. As I mentioned, an organizational psychologist basically does the role of managing the life cycle of an employee. What is the life cycle of an employee starts with? The first is obviously recruiting them. The second is training them. The third is checking their performances, making sure that they are having a better place to work. And the fourth is, giving them suggestions and all stuff related to it. So let's start with the recruitment process. The first thing which we have to understand during the recruitment process is many people have a very thought that okay, recruitment is very an easier form. Why should an organization psychologist play a role in it? It is the role of a HR manager and also. But the point here is you are actually hiring the humans. You're not hiring robots. And humans are all about emotions, the behavior, and all stuff. There is a saying regarding recruitments, basically in the in the workplace culture. That is, if you are a company who are hiring for skills always get tarnished. You have to not only hire for skills, but also for the people. The people in the sense, their behavior, how they project themselves, how they carry themselves, and all of stuff like that. And that is why As an organizational psychologist, you will be playing a very bigger role here. So usually what happens, you have to use many psychometric questions and many other stuff like that. But from my experience, like I've been into this HR industry for the past 5 years, and from my both corporate as well as startup experience, what we were able to understand as recruiters were the psychometric questions or the psychometric method has been a slowly failuring process. Okay, I repeat the statement. The psychometric analyzing or the psychometric testing which we use for hiring employees, for understanding them, has been actually becoming a slow failure process. Can you people guess why I'm saying this as a failure process? Any guess? You can use the chat box and try to say your answers. Why psychometric assessments is being slowly becoming a failure process? Too rigid? Okay, HR is that where okay, so okay. Yeah, it's too rigid. Any other answers? Any other answers? Why this is being considered or it is slowly becoming a failure process? Because eventually the nature change over time. Okay, maybe objective in some way. Okay. Great. People are not open to it. Sometimes not go according to the plan. Okay. Fine. Great. Now I'll try to say you the actual reason here. The actual reason why psychometric assessment is not much successful or it is becoming a failure process is nowadays candidates are able to practice this kind of psychometric test or assignments or assessments already in the internet or using the internet, and are mostly able to guess why a question is being asked. Even though we keep this checks or test whether the person is lying or not, people who are smart are actually able to crack these psychometric assessments based on the practice. But actually the psychometric assessment is to check their behavior, but still that is how things are working here. So getting back to the point, how recruitment or organization psychologist plays the role, it's all about analyzing their behavior in their analyzing their behavior in the 5 to 10 minutes of the span which you have been interviewing the candidate. Of course, analyzing a human within 5 to 10 minutes is super hard, but it's possible. Say for instance, I'll try to give you a very simple example where if I wanted to analyze a candidate about their leadership qualities, I don't ask them directly what is your leadership quality. I don't ask them, what is their recent leadership story or something like that. I ask them, I'll try to give them scenario-based questions, saying that imagine you are a HR manager, okay, and I am a leader or I am a candidate where I'm applying for it. I'll just ask, what are the qualities you expect in a candidate? I'll repeat, what are the qualities you expect in a candidate? Now, most often, the candidate will try to say whatever he or she is following. I'll repeat the statement. If you wanted to analyze a person, you don't need to ask what is their best quality or what is the quality or what is their advantages or something like that. You just have to ask what do you expect in a person to be more professional. What happens? 9 in 10 times, the candidate says the qualities which they are actually following in their professional life. If you agree with this point, if you are trying to relate with this point, just type a yes in the chat box. So I could also relate with, okay, the audience are feeling the same vibe as if you are able to agree this point. Okay. So yes, basically this is where organizational psychologist plays a role, where as a person from the psychology background, your subject knowledge and relate it with the candidate to analyze the behavior of the employee or to analyze the behavior of a candidate. Yeah, of course, they can tell whatever they invest. But the thing is, like, not everybody can cook stories within a short span of time. And that is where we ask about the explanations. Let's say, like, almost don't ask the what or don't depend on the why. Depend on the, I mean, say for instance, don't ask them what-based questions. Ask them why-based questions. Say for instance, if a candidate is saying, I will expect time management in a candidate, I'm not going to stop with that as a HR. What I will do, I'll also again cross-check whether are they really doing or are they just pretending to. What I will do, okay, what is the time management is the answer. Why you are choosing time management? And what happens? The candidate starts to explain things. The explanation actually matters. And this is where we can also, analyze them as a personality on a whole basis. That's what I said, like, you can focus on the why instead of the what. So basically this is one of the aspects in the recruitment part. Now, as I mentioned, the next part or the next phase of an employee, once they are being recruited or once they are selected, we go with the training programs. Many people think that the training programs are only for freshers or only for people who are just joining a company. No. Actually, training is applicable for both freshers as well as experienced. And you may have a doubt, okay, I'm an organizational psychologist, I'm not a corporate trainer, I'm not a soft skills trainer. Why should I be worried about training and development? Why should I learn training and development? And this is where the play comes in. Not every company has the resources to hire a corporate trainer specifically. Not every companies have the funds to hire soft skills trainers. So what they do, they hire HR professionals, organizational psychologists with the background of training and development also. So what they can do, they can initiate or they can make sure that the HR professionals or the organizational psychologists are doing the multitask aspects. And this is what basically helps you. It's all about, say for instance, it's all about in the job market. It is all about how much skills you are having and how you will be adding value to the organization. And that's why I mentioned that organization psychologists are also mandatorily expected to initiate training and development programs for the employees inside the organization. Now, I asked you a very simple question that I said you a statement that not only freshers, experienced people also need training programs. The question is, why should experienced people need training programs? Can you say your thoughts in the chat box? You can just mention why do experienced people also need training when they are joining a company to cope up with currently used methods. Okay, change in technology and current trends. Okay. Getting accustomed. Okay. To rely on their approach. Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm not able to read every comments, but I'm trying to read maximum comments as possible. Each company has a different environment, hence it would be helpful. Okay. Great. Yeah, everybody can say your answers. So as I mentioned, it's all about giving your contribution. Why experienced people also need training programs when they are initially joining a company? That is the question. Okay, great, great. As many said, every company has its own working methods, working aspects, and working styles, basically. And to cope up and to know more about the workplace culture, how does this company work? How does this company use marketing? How does this company use finance? How does this company treat their fellow employees? Whether it is a hierarchy factor or whether they are all like a family, how basically here it has been happening. So to understand this is why training and development programs have been used. And yeah, basically in training and development programs there are two different things. One is hard skill, and the second is soft skill. And many would have a confusion that okay, what if I hire a software engineer? How will I be able to train him because I have no software experience? That's what I mentioned that when you train, there are only two things. One is hard skill, second is soft skill. The hard skill factor is all about the technical details, whether they are an engineer or a doctor or a psychologist, whatever field they know. And the knowledge related to their own department is hard skill. And the soft skills is nothing but their personality development, how they have to behave inside the organization. That is being taught by the organization psychologist when a fresher or an experienced person are joining the company. Now, we discussed about the recruitment, we discussed about the training and development programs, and last is we are also yet to discuss about the factor related with how they are performing inside the organization. How they are performing inside the organization. That is the key aspect here. Because the performance of an employee depends on various things. One is his own skills, his own learning ability, and these are all minor parts. But the major part is how does the organization treat them? What kind of inputs, or how the employers are making sure that the employees are comfortable, how he is being provided with a better and safe workplace, everything represents. Now, you can also share your thoughts. What are the factors which improve or which affect the performance of an employee inside the organization? In the chat box. Mental health, okay, okay. Pressure given by the superiors, change, resistance to change, okay. Their EQ, okay, okay. Inability to blend in, okay. They can conduct many employee welfare programs, okay, okay. Symptoms in the team, liking to the task assigned, yes, yes. Depressing work culture, okay, okay. Environmental change, true, 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 true. Okay, okay, great, great. Of course, whatever you have mentioned in the chat boxes, almost every answers are right in their own levels of the terms. But as I mentioned earlier, these are the factors basically, and this is the role of an organizational psychologist to take care of these all things. Say, for instance, whether employee is being treated properly, whether the workload is being too much. Are people bossy? How the culture is being, how they are feeling inside the organization. Are they hating their job or are they loving their job? Whether whether are we as human resource people, are we able to provide them a better environment to work, have their potential being utilized? Can anyone just confirm? Is it okay now? Yeah, great, great. Okay. So yeah, getting back to the point, these are the basic things, how the employee is being treated, how they feel inside the organization. Do they have the interest to come back every single day? Are we providing them the safe space? Are we providing the better environment for them to work? And all these are the criteria, and all these are the terms which will help the employee or either to improve his performance or which will actually affect his performance. And saying this, I'll also try to mention another factor. What if the performance orientation is represented? And the next thing which we have to actually give super importance is creating a better organization culture. Uh, let's take it in a very simple manner. What is an organization culture? Organization culture is a place about how the person feels inside the organization, whether they are feeling toxic, whether they are feeling happy, whether they are able to, whether they think that it is a family or whether they think that, okay, one is affecting the other person, or whether it is a gossiping work culture. Basically, how the employee feels inside the organization, that actually represents the work culture as well. I would try to put a small quote now regarding this workplace culture. Uh, it was said by one of the famous entrepreneurs, the founder of Virgin Group of companies, Richard Branson. He's a famous entrepreneur. He has also, accomplished many things lately. I would try to quote his small statement, and that is nothing but people join a company for a salary, and people leave the company for culture. I'll repeat the statement. People join the company for salary, people leave the company because of the culture. There may be many reasons. There may be higher earning reasons. There may be a competitor company who provides them better salary. There may be, a transfer in their own, or there may be personal reasons and all stuff. If the reason, for example, if I am an employee and I have reasons that no, I just went to another company because of the salary, or I just wanted to jump to another company because of my personal reasons or something like that, there are 99% chances that the employee may come back to the same organization after 5 years or 10 years or whatever it is. But if an employee leaves an organization because he feels that the culture is not good, there's no comeback in his case. As the quote represents, a person joins a company for salary and leaves the company because of a bad culture. You may attract talents when you pay them 1 lakh, 2 lakh, 10 lakh, or 20 lakh, whatever it is. But after joining your company, and if the employee is not feeling good, if the employee has been actually hating the job every single day, one day or the other he or she is going to quit. That's what basically this term represents. So I just wanted this important point to inculcate in all of your 100 minds. And what you can do is, all the 100 plus people inside this group can just type this particular statement. People join join company for salaries and leave the company for bad culture, and leave company because of bad culture. This simple code in the chat box. So let's make sure that when we type it and post it in the chat box, almost 100 people do this. It automatically gets registered in your mind, and when you as an organization psychologist enter into a company, you will never remember, you will never forget this code, that you are responsible for the culture inside the organization. Let's try to do this. All the 100 people inside the, try to type it. It is a very simple statement. People join the company for salary and leave a company because of bad culture. Just type it in the chat box and post it. All the 100 people. You know, the whole objective of I'm asking you all the 100 people to post this is, let this simple point get registered in our mind to the cut throughout our brain, and let's never forget this point, because it's that much important. And when you enter into corporates, when you enter into startups, the first thing you have to focus is always the workplace culture. Just type it as a small, just a simple exercise, a very simple exercise for you to understand the importance of culture. Everybody, all the 100, all the great. Yeah. Don't feel bad. Don't feel okay. This is not working. It may look childish. It may look not much factor, but just try to involve yourself in the process. It will definitely help you a lot. Okay. I am expecting more. Yeah. We have 100 people. Like we have almost got 30 plus, 40 plus. Yes. The number is slowly increasing. Great. I'm happy that almost everybody are posting the statements. Okay. Great. Yeah. As I mentioned, like such things you should never forget. And when you do this, you will also somewhere remember. Okay, before 1 year or 2 year, or if you are a working professional, you may also think tomorrow also. And if you are a student, you may think, okay, before 1 year or 2 year, I attended a small course. There we learned something like this, right? It's a small factor for us to experiment. That's it. Great. Yeah. So now we have come to the end of the session. I just started with the session with giving you a proper clarity about what do organizational psychology do and stuff like that. And I also differentiated you with the difference of HR and manager and all stuff like that. Then we discussed about few roles of an organizational psychologist. What do they do? What are the few important duties they have to initiate inside the organization? Now, let's end the session with a small, of course, the last 15 minutes is about, about Q&A. I'll try to address the maximum queries which has been posted inside the chat box. I'll also try to, we have a second meme inside the place itself, to initiate. So let me post that simple meme inside the WhatsApp group. And yeah, here we go. You can check the WhatsApp group now. We have posted a small meme. I think this should be your takeaway for today's. Yeah. Just check the chat box. Sorry, not the chat box. Just check the WhatsApp group and try to see it. Okay, it's a small meme. I'm just trying to make sure that let your learning be very simple and more understandable instead of complicating with too much of PowerPoint presentations. I'm trying to represent it in a simple way. That's it. think almost everybody are watching the meme. Okay, okay, yeah. Okay. Yes, before getting to the Q&A session, I just wanted to, get a one-line feedback about the first day of session. How did you feel? Were you able to relate? Were you able to give clarity? And also, I just need a one-line feedback from this first day session. I promise you I'll not ask it again and again. Since this is the first day, I just wanted to understand what you are expecting as well. So I just wanted to see or get to know how did you feel about the first day session. Just a one-line feedback about the first day session. Then we'll be slowly starting with the Q&A aspects. Okay, 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 okay. Great, great. Yeah, practical info greater than PPT. Okay, okay. Yeah, that's what I also basically wanted to initiate. Just an interactive session um, to not boredom you with the content, instead to make you think. That's what my objective was also. After this 45 minutes to 1 hour of session, I just wanted you people to think, because almost all our educational systems are being focusing on uh, just providing information. I don't want you to provide information. I wanted you to think. And to think, I just asked you the right questions. That's what I also did with the factors. Yes. Okay. So yes, then open for the Q&A sessions. Now each one can mention what is your doubts. We'll try to address the maximum doubts in the 7:50 to 8 slot. Okay. Person is asking for more salary than the slab. What organization psychologist will do? Yeah, it is about mostly we will be trying to convince the particular candidate, explaining about the salary slab which we have mentioned, and if that doesn't follow in the category, we just have to um, compromise the candidate. That's what basically at the most of it we will be trying to convince the candidate, explaining about the things and stuff like that. But if things are not working, we just have to compromise the candidate, because a candidate is too much focused on the salary also. That is also a problem in KSF, because when a competitor gives a better salary, there are chances that he may switch out as well. Okay, okay. What will be the one monotonous work of an organization will get bored of doing in its career? I think it's about conducting the confrontation meetings. Confrontation meeting is about asking and demanding the performance related issues to their employees. I think that is what actually comes inside the space, because almost nobody says the exact answer. Mostly people will say some random reasons which even we can't believe. I think that's what basically happens. What does the company see while it is recruiting an employee for HRO who's a graduate with zero experience? For a candidate with zero experience, it is all about, have they done any upskilling? Of course, they don't have any experience related to the field, but have they done any upskilling related to the field? Any courses or any workshops or any online certifications at least? I think that would help to an extent. Yeah. Can IO psychologists provide counseling if they are able? Of course, there is no restriction in providing counselings. But the thing is, like most of it, companies don't expect you to conduct counseling. Companies expect you to strategize planning and making a better place or a better environment for the employees. That is what mostly companies don't much encourage nowadays to initiate counseling for their employees from the organizational psychology perspective. Job can be balanced if people give same importance to work contributions as they do to things that they do. Okay, how will change a bad organization culture? Yeah, it is a prolonged process. You have to actually start it from the recruitment itself, because you just can't get into a company and just say that, okay, I'm going to change the organization culture, and that is not going to work out. So what works out is you just have to start it from the first stage, recruiting the right person with the proper intention, and many other things also include. We say such things, but is it true? India mostly IO is confused with HR. Yeah, basically IO psychologist as well as HR work together. Only their positions have been assigned as or differentiated as on two terms or two nominals, but basically they both work for the wellness of the employees. Only thing is, like, there's most of the companies started hiring, specifically from the MBA background, but nowadays the things have been changing where people are being actually given importance. Companies have understood the role or the change which an IO can bring inside the organization. Basically. Can an IO psychologist have a private practice in counseling psychology hand in hand? I think that should be a no, because nowadays most of the companies don't encourage such things where you can practice individually. Say for instance, if you are working in a company, you will not be allowed to do the second income either by practice or something like. They just do it. They just clearly mention it in your joining letters itself that you will not be allowed to do that extra aspect. That is no from the company side, and if you're that's what basically the market standards is. Okay, I recently faced a toxic environment at workplace, and when I asked questions, the boss asked me to leave. It's a big organization, but nobody asked me what's wrong exactly. Yeah, I understand, Shami Sharma. The problem itself, if the problem itself is with the boss, like it's kind of hard for us to address the aspects where a boss always thinks that he's right, and I think that's where IO comes in. Where if your boss is actually a person who will be, who will be ready to accept his changes and ready to accept the factors, then it is a good place. But if the boss itself is not ready to accept the mistakes or not ready to listen to you, then I think it's actually a no, basically. Okay, how to become a behavioral analyst? Can I work like that as IO psychologist? Okay. So for behavioral, there are many certification courses basically. Like you can either come to certification courses, and my personal suggestion is like the future itself or the workspace of future is more changing, where people are encouraging certifications, people are accepting things, but more than that, try to focus on your practical upskilling aspects that will actually bring a lot of difference basically. Do defense services have organizational psychologists and psychologists? Mostly it is a no, because there usually people who are being upskilled with behavior aspects of human behavior, that is what mostly people from the counseling background are obtained. There is no restriction as of now, but you can also take a dive into it. Okay, ergonomics. Okay, yeah. So ergonomics is actually to give you a small example. Okay, just give me a minute. So ergonomics is actually how we are equipping the work environment. That is what basically ergonomics is. Say for instance, the design, the look and feel of an environment, how the employees should feel, what are the things which we should keep inside the organization. If you take Google or Facebook or Netflix or any sort of tech startups, specifically in Silicon Valley or in the USA, they actually take a lot of effort to work on this ergonomics concept. Where I think recently Netflix and Google also introduced this concept of working in an open lawn. What is this working in an open lawn? Basically, it is about you know uh, if people are being accustomed to work inside cabins with 4 to 4 cabins, they are not able to think creatively. And organizational psychologists figured out this, and this is what they just made sure that they they made sure that they have to bring the right environment to make sure that people are more creative. That is basically ergonomics, about what kind of environment you can give to your employees and what are the changes you can bring into the organization, whether environment based or the products based or the even the office space aspect based also. That is basically ergonomics. Yeah. Okay then. So I have tried maximum to address the queries. I understand that there are many queries also. So I'll try to initiate it. Like we have a small task for tomorrow before joining today's session, and I'll try to explain the task basically, and I'll also give you um, a representation of how this task should be completed, and you can also try to post it in the WhatsApp group. The WhatsApp chat will be open for you. We'll be opening the chat and we'll be also initiating the factors as well. Like you can try to write whatever you learned today in your LinkedIn profile, and you can try to write it as a small write-up, say for like 8 to 10 lines or something like that, and you can try to post it in the WhatsApp group. This is not for the marketing purpose. This is not any PR stunt or public stunt or nothing like that. You don't need to mention Chanakya. You don't need to mention me. It is, I just wanted you all the 80 or 90 people inside the group to create this habit of writing in the public forum, where I personally believe that good writers are good leaders also. Good writers will definitely become good leaders. So I think almost everybody would have a LinkedIn profile. So what you can do is like you can try to write a small article or a small write-up about what you learned in today's session. No need to mention Chanakya. No need to mention my name. As I'm clearly mentioned, this is not a marketing stunt or nothing. This is all about. I just wanted you to take a task every day so that things looks more serious for all the 3 days. So this is the first day's task, that you have to write a small 8 to 10 lines of article or a write-up. What was your learning today, and try to post it in the LinkedIn, and try to always also share that LinkedIn post in the WhatsApp group itself, the WhatsApp group which we have at. So everybody can share your post and address it. So at the end of the 3 days, you'll also be able to curate a small sort of writing experience, not only about listening, because you have listened for almost 45 minutes to 1 hour, and when you start writing, it is something like a small exercise for you to recall the things which you have learned. That's it. Thank you. Thanks for the time. Thanks for being an amazing participants today. And we'll have our next session probably by tomorrow evening, 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Thank you. Thank you all. Good evening all, and I'm happy that all have been here sorry for the delays that was for the industrial cycle. And to confirm with the technical settings of the session, kindly mention me if my audio is clear to all the participants, because of the I'm not able to switch on the video part, but I'll make sure that it is a completely we are initiating the factor. Do confirm in the chat boxes. So most of our conversation will be completely in the chat box, and do confirm me if my audio is clear or not. Okay, my voice is breaking. So just a minute, I'll try to sort it out. And, have started working on the audio factors also. And can from the participant side, can you confirm if my audio is clear now? Can I get a yes?
Yes, sir. It's clear.
Okay, okay. Great, great. Thank you, thank you. Thanks for the confirmation, dear audience.